Hello YouTubers, this is Fragzilla, and today I'll be doing a deck profile on my Lightsworn deck. This is Judgment Dragon. Run 3 of him. He's amazing. You have 4 Lightsworns in your grave by different names. You can special summon him, pay 1,000 life points, destroys everything on the field, attack for 3,000. Judgment Dragon. Run 3. He's a VIP of the deck. Into the Lightsworns. Run 3 Lumina. She allows you to grab other Lightsworns out of the grave by discarding cards. You need a Lightsworn in the grave to do this though. And then at the end phase, you mill 3 cards. So she keeps the milling going. She's good. 3 Lila. I like 3 because I don't run MST. And she destroys back rows if you manage to successfully summon her. And she turns into defense to do this effect. So this way, after you're done with your effect, she's now in defense, blocking an attack, and at the end phase she mills 3. So to keep the milling going for your Judgment Dragons. Run 3. 2 Garoth. I like him because when if he's on the field, and Lumina, Lila, whatever, if they mill, he mills, and if he mills a Lightsworn, you get to draw a card. I run 2 because I've had many plays where I've had 2 on the field, and helps me draw into those JDs or any other monster cards that you want to get out there on the field or into your hand to keep going. So I like 2. I don't run 1. I mean, I like, just for the name, I guess you could run 1, but I like 2 because I like his effect. I like it. Definitely run 2 Raikou, just because he's kind of gets stuck, or first turn you just set him, they attack into it, flips, destroys, mills 3, and he's another name for Judgment Dragon. I don't like 3 because I don't want to keep setting cards. I want to keep going. So 2 just for the name, and that's it. Now here's a weird one. Wolf. I only like to run 2. Sometimes I only feel like I need 1, but then sometimes you just need the name, and you don't mill him. And if he is milled, he's special summoned to the field. But the reason why I don't like him is because if he's in your hand, you can't do nothing with him other than use him as discard fodder for Lumina or Monster Reincarnation. So just 3's too many, 1's not enough. I like to stick with 2. Now for the 1s, Irin, Jane, where's the other one? Arucus, and then Celestia. Now these are I only run 1 of these because you only need them for the name, and they don't really do anything else to help you get other Lightsworns out or do any other things. But I like her because if you draw first turn, they play it safe by setting a card. You can just attack it, send it back to their deck, and end phase you get to mill 3. Jane, I love throwing this to the grave because its effect is kind of one-sided. If you attack with it, its attack goes up to 2,100. But other than that, it's just a name, really. I really don't summon it that often unless I have no choice and I have to summon it to get the mill going. Arucus, he's pretty good. What he does is if he's on the field, Lightsworns on the field or in the grave cannot be targeted by card effects. So, like, if they try to DD Crow you, they try you Lumina and they try to DD Crow you, you say, oh, you can't target it with DD Crow. So the other problem is while he's in the field, you can't use things like Monster Reincarnation because you can't target Lightsworns in the grave. So you kind of screw yourself with him being on the field. So you just gotta be careful with when you gotta use him, like summon him or after you've used Monster Reincarnation or after Lumina, because even when Lumina's on the field and he's on the field, you try to use Lumina's effect to target a Lightsworn, you can't. So be careful with him. Celestia, I love this card, but I always mill it, and you can't get it back. You can't get it onto the field with Lumina, and I hate wasting a Monster Reincarnation on it. But it is an amazing effect if you draw into it and you manage to actually get it on the field. Amazing effect. Mills 4 and then it blows up 2 cards in the field. But she's just really in there for the name like the rest of these. 1 Honest. Just because he's honest. Protects the little guys. Stumps the opponent because they think they got this big monster in the field. They attack Illumina and it dies and Lumina remains in the field. So definitely run Honest in a light deck. And just to keep the milling going, 2 Card Trooper. Mills 3, the attack goes up by 500 for every mill, and if it's destroyed, you get to draw a card. So it's a plus, it's a mill, it's a plus. And I don't really recommend syncering or overlaying with it, because then you don't get the draw effect, but he's still good. Pretty much every mill deck runs him. Now for the weirdos, I like to run just because I like them. Magical Merchant. When he's flip summoned, you send cards from your deck to your grave, and when you run into a spell or trap card, you add that to your hand. How's that not a bad card? You mill, and then when you get to a card that you don't want to mill, you add it to your hand. I like them. Again, 3's too many, 1's not enough, 2. 2 other goofy cards that I like to run that I just feel they're really good, and they've actually been game changers for me. Herald of Creation. Normal summon it, discard a card, grab a level 7 or higher, grab your BLS, grab your Judgment Dragon, grab whatever in there that you feel is going to help you win this duel. I've top decked this card. Well, not top deck because I need to discard one, but you know, I've even done this. I've monster reincarnated her, and then normal summoned her, grabbed JD. So now she's on the field, and I have JD. And sucks when you have to use JD's effect, and she goes bye-bye. But sometimes, you know, the 3000 and the 18, you know, it can turn the game around real quick. But she's really good. Run 2, definitely run 2, because I hate running 1. I tried 1, but I always mill it. I hardly ever got into her. But 2, you double the chance of actually drawing her. 3, Necro. You always want to run 3 Necro. I do. I mean, I would recommend it just because you don't run traps. You don't run anything to stop people from attacking, and you really can't. You don't stop their summoning. So you just need something to stop the attacks until you get the opportunity to drop your JDs. So, and you mill them. They're darks, so they're good for the BLS, the Chaos Sorcerer, if you feel you don't need them no more to stop attacks. Plague Spreader. He's up to 2 now, which is good. I hardly ever milled him, and I was just like, oh, I have all these cards in the field, and I really need to stop my milling. Plague Spreader would be good to synchro into something pretty nasty to give them a run for their money and stop my milling so I don't mill myself out. But now he's a 2, I'm twice as likely to mill him. And I like playing a lot of level 8s just because I like a variety of different ways. And you make 8s with this deck really easily. And I like Plague Spreader. So I put him at 2. I like him like that. 1 hand trap, Gores, duh. He's really the only hand trap I play. You could do Chigodia, but I like Gores. You're more likely to mill him, but he's a dark, so he's milling fodder for you know, BLS or Chaos Sorcerer. So if you mill him, no big deal, whatever. But if you have him in your hand, yeah, you're not really going to be milling much if you're not summoning something. That's why I don't particularly care for him. But he saves the day sometimes. Sometimes you're stuck and he's in your hand. And then, of course, BLS, Chaos Sorcerer, just because there are lights and darks, and I've done many plays where I would summon one of these 2, and they bottomless it, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, good job, bottomlessing the BLS, Judgment Dragon. So I usually use him as a trick just to force him to use those traps. And then the last 2, which are the new ones that I like, and I feel they're working really well with this deck, is Cephalon, the Ultimate Time Lord. If you have 10 monsters in your grave, you can special summon this guy from your hand, but he cannot be special summoned by any other means. With the Herald of Creations and Monster Reincarnation, I get these out of my grave very easily if I don't draw into them. I love them so much. They're 4,000 attack, if my camera will focus here. 4,000 attack. That's why they're amazing. They're just amazing. Good card. I like them very much. That's me. Okay, let's go into the spells. Of course, it's a Lightsworn deck, so you do Charge of the Light Brigade, mill some cards, add any Lightsworn with level 4 or lower to your hand. Too bad you can't grab Celestia with it, but still a good card. Run 3 Soul Recharge. Lightsworn deck again. Discard a Lightsworn, draw 2 cards, mill 2 cards. Amazing. like I said before, Monster Reincarnation. With these 2 cards and Herald of Creation, I have 4 different ways to get those bosses out of my grave and back into my hand if I mill them. So I like running 2. 3 is too many, 1's not enough, blah, blah, blah. You still have to discard a card to get them in here, and that's why it's good, because you discard the card, discard, the Lightsworns to get that right number in your grave to get JD out, and then you grab them, and then drop them. Staples, Book of Moon, Dark Hole. Sometimes I side out Dark Hole to put, because I don't, if you have Field Presence, you really want to Dark Hole yourself, but without Heavy Storm being around anymore, sometimes all you can do is just take out their monsters and then go off from there. But Book of Moon, just so you can stall them, or for whatever reason, you want to put a monster that's an attack and you don't want to. You don't want to get hit, you just Book of Moon it or screw them up by Book of Mooning something of theirs. You never know, Book of Moon, it always comes in handy. The extra deck. Now the extra deck is really, I don't go into it much. The only reason why I have the extra deck is just so if I get into a point where I need to stop the milling, so I don't deck myself out. We'll go into the 3s, which are Zenmaines and Levier. Levier, just because if something does get banished, I can get it back to the field. For whatever reason, to continue milling or just to screw them over, whatever, like Plague Spreader. Plague Spreader gets banished with his own effect. You get it back to the field, make another 8 or whatever you want to make. Zenmain's just for a stall, just because if I feel like I need to, I've milled plenty, but I really don't have the boss monsters in my hand, and I know they're still in the deck. I'll just overlay the Luminas or the Necrogarters or whatever, and sit and stall and keep drawing until I manage to get those boss monsters, and then from there go off. So that's it for the 3s. The 4s, I like Jedi Pearl. Pearl's amazing because of Ophion, because you can't, with Ophion on the field, you can't make JD, so if I'm able to make this guy, he's 2600, then I can just kill Ophion and then drop my JDs. Degusto Emerald, just because I feel like if I have too many things in my graveyard I don't want there and I want to put them back to my deck, if I can make him, send all those monsters back to the deck and hopefully draw into them. Star Leash is pretty good. That's an all light deck. Make him, he's, you got a big monster on your opponent's side of the field that you can't get over. He reduces it to 0, its attack to 0, and then negates its effect, and then attacks. And if he's destroyed, you get to draw a card. So he's really good. He's like a really good card trooper without a mill. But he's really good. I like him. Into the Synchros, I only run 1/5. Cataster, duh. He's in every 10 nowadays. But you just, if you're done milling, you want to make something just to put in the way to stop the milling, kind of stump them for a little bit. Cataster. I only run 1 level 6. That's just for some reason if I can't straight up make an 8, I'll synchro into him, use Plague Spreader's effect, top deck a card. He comes back out, then I'll synchro with him, and the Plague Spreader gets banished, and then here comes the 8. Level 7, Black Rose. He's just a mini JD, and he could be a game changer. I mean, Black Rose has changed the games for me a lot. I think I'm up against the ropes, and I make him, and now they're top decking. So because they went all out thinking that they had the game, and I had Black Rose, and now I have control. For the 8s, I like to run. Like I said, I like to run a variety of 8s because you never know what you're going to run into, and I like to stump my opponent. Beating their face is always nice, but stumping them is even nicer. Crimson Blader, Scrap Dragon, Light End Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Stardust Spark Dragon, and then Infinity Doom Dragon. Crimson Blader, of course, to stop them from special summoning their next turn. So next turn, if that's all they do, if that's the only way they can make monsters, then good for you. Scrap Dragon, just if you destroy something on your side of the field, destroy something on their side of the field, gets over a lot of stupid stuff. Light End Dragon, you special summon him. Basically, they're stuck attacking now because if they attack into this, it's going to reduce that monster's attack. And this one's go down a little bit, but usually he gets over a lot of stuff. If it's over 3,000 or if it's under 3,000, this card will kill it. Even if it's not, if they're attacking you, either way, you attack, they attack. He's really good. He's like 6 samurais. They can't do nothing. Stardust Dragon, just to protect everything on the field. If they decide they're going to Dark Hole, okay, he stops that. If I want to protect Stardust or whatever else I have on the field, you know, Stardust Spark Dragon, he just protects anything on the field. I think he even protects other cards. Target one face-up card you control. Yeah, it's not even monster restricted, so you can protect whatever card you have on the field. It doesn't even have to be a monster, so he's really good. And then this one, I really don't make him that often. He's just kind of in there for the idea of when I, you know, rather have it than not need it, than need it and not have it. If I have no hand and I manage to make this sucker, it destroys a monster on the field, and they take damage to half its attack. And but you can have no hand to do this. So sometimes he's good for, you know, the fact that you went all out, you went for the OTK, and they had a monster in the way that you couldn't get over. This pops it, and but the only thing is the back draw is he cannot attack if you do this effect. But he is 3,000, so he sits in the way. You get rid of their big monster, they're stuck, they can't do nothing. Next turn, you attack for 3,000. So he's good. He's just a synchro single target JD. Yeah, he's just in there. And then for the only 9, my Mistworm. I only really go into him if I know that I can go for the kill, because sometimes sending cards back to their hand is not too good of a thing. So, but Mistworm, you manage to sink into him, and he's successful. You can send 3 cards on their side of the field back to their hand. I usually like to wait till they exceed into a bunch of crap, and then it goes back to their extra deck, and I don't know. He's just good. But sending stuff to their hand sometimes is bad, because then they can just reset it next turn. So, Mistworm, that's it for the extra deck. I'm going to go real quick into the side deck. This is just what I do. You don't even have to do any of this. Sometimes people don't even side Lightsworns. But Thunder King, duh. I wish he was at 2, but it's too bad he's at 1. That's why he's not in the main deck. I used to main deck 2 of these, but sad face for Thunder King. This is in case I run against decks that have field cards. Light Ray Daedalus. This card is a really amazing card. Its attack isn't too superb, like 2600 is not that great, but to get the special summon him, the requirements are very low, having 4 or more lights in the grave. So like it's not even specific to name. You just gotta have 4 lights, and this is pretty much primarily a light deck, so it's not that hard to get that many in their very first turn, if not second turn. Drop him. He destroys a field card, and then he destroys 2 other cards in the field. I side him if I go up against like Necro Valley or the Harpies. They run that hunting ground trap, and you know, just it hurts a lot of field card decks, and I like it. So game 2, if I see them running a field card, I'm like, oh, okay, give me one moment. Let me side this out. Just before I went back to playing traditional Lightsworns, this was in there. This is another Light Ray Diablos. I love this card. I still can't get rid of it. You know, I just love it. It's a 2600 or 2800 attack. The only thing is its restrictions. You got to have 5 or more lights in the grave by a different name, and sometimes it gets a little difficult. He's a little more difficult to get out than JD, but it's not impossible. It's definitely not impossible. But when he is summoned, you can target a set card. If he's successful and they got a spell or trap set back there, or even a monster, you can just banish a light from the grave, flip that set card, reveal it, and then you get to choose whether to put it at the bottom or the top of their deck. So if it's a useless trap and it didn't, you know, it's not stopping you, you can just send that trap back to the top of their deck. Next turn, they draw back into it, they set it, you banish. You know, or you don't even need to keep doing it. You know, if you know it's not going to hurt you, then you just keep attacking. You could even just sending it. I usually do it just to send it back to the top of their decks to keep drawing into it. And they just keep drawing into it, and then they're stuck until eventually you get them for game. So sometimes I feel silly. I put it back in. Tragodia. I've always held on to him. Sometimes I'll take out Gores and add him, or take out something else. Like if they run a lot of spells and traps, I'll just take out a Lila and a Gores and add 2 Tragodia. He helps. He helps you copy levels, and if you want to overlay into something or sync into something, plus his stealing effect, because this deck runs a different array of levels. You know, I run levels 2, 3, 4, 5. I run a 7, and I run the 8. So he's really good for just stealing monsters. The 3 breakthrough skills. It's a cool trap. Because when you decide that you want to, if you do mill it, it's no big deal. You can just still use this effect while it's in the grave. It's not bad. It's pretty much the only trap I think I could run in this deck. You know, you draw into it, you don't, you mill it, you're good. So stops a lot of monster effects. So I like it. I cite it. Sometimes I feel goofy, I'll run it. And then the traditional trap, which I just have it in here just for traditionality of having this trap, Beckoning Light. But it doesn't really help me at all. I usually end up milling it, or if I do end up getting a chance to play it, I already have what I need in my hand. So it's just kind of useless. So I usually don't. It's just in there. It's just in there. Well, that's the deck profile. Thank you for watching, and happy hunting.